Hi, this is Mohammed at MA Chartered Accountants, and today I'll be speaking about travel and entertaining costs. This is something I get asked about on a regular basis from all of our clients, whether they're one-person contractors or whether they're our biggest clients. Everyone's asking me about it. So if we think about the kinds of the categories, number one, you're working in a fixed place of business in your hometown, and you have to go there, every day or most days. Um, Another category is you're working away from your normal place, so like you have to travel to another town or you have to travel overseas. Um, another case could be what if you work from home. Um, that's kind of travel. And then you've got entertaining. You've got sort of staff entertainment where you take your team out for corporate dinner or some sort of event or party. And then you've got client entertaining where you're taking a client out for food or for a football match, something like that. So those are the kind of key categories. If we go through them one by one, so the first one was if you're working in a fixed place of business. So for example, I have an office in Liverpool Street and I'm there on most days. So because it's my fixed place of business, I can't claim the cost of commuting. So I can't claim, train, tube, car mileage, parking. I can't claim for those kinds of costs. I can't claim for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. On the food part, the key concept is duality or purpose. I have to eat to live. So I can't claim for those kinds of costs because yeah, it's my fixed place of business. Um, Unless occasionally if I have to work early or late, then I can claim. So for example, I used to work late all the time, so I could claim the cost of meals, and sometimes I used to get a mini cab home because it was very late. So because if it's like if it's like actually if I was doing it on a very regular basis, then I couldn't claim it, but I was doing it just irregularly enough to claim for it. It wasn't a regular pattern where I'm always doing it. Um, yeah, so fixed place of business. Usually you can't claim for travel or food unless occasionally you work early or late. Um, so that's working in a fixed place of business. So what if you have to travel away from your hometown? So say for example, uh, last month I was in Blackburn for a week. So because I was in a completely different town, I was able to claim the cost of traveling there. So you can claim for things like car mileage, train or tube. You can claim for like a hotel accommodation. You can claim for breakfast and dinner. And there's no sort of limit. So whether you're in sort of I don't know 2-star or 5-star accommodation, or if you go to like a fancy restaurant, as long as it's sort of within reason, there's no sort of like monetary limit on what you can spend. But the key point is you have to go for business. Like if you're to mix business and pleasure, like you're gonna go to another town and see some relatives, as well as working. Then again, the duality purpose comes into play, and usually you wouldn't be able to claim the cost of the travel. It's sort of there's like specific circumstances, but usually you can't. So say for example, we have clients who have they're originally from another country in Europe, so they go back on a regular basis. They might be working, but because they spend a lot of time with their friends and family, then they can't claim the cost of travel. Other clients, they have to go to another country for a business conference. So because they're going for business, they can claim. So yeah, so if you're working away from home, you're going to another town, you're going far away, or you're going overseas, then you can claim the cost of travel. You can claim the cost of food. Um, and also I think the last one for travel is what if you work from home? Well, if you work from home, um, it's a bit of a grey area, but usually, if you're going for a meeting, then you can, you might be able to claim the cost of traveling there. But usually, what we'd say is that if you're living in London and you're traveling to London, it's not really worth the risk of claiming it. It's just kind of, um, I don't know. You could, but it's a grey area, and what we always try and do is just try and stay safe. Don't take risks. It's not really worth it, to be honest. So again, actually, I haven't spoken about lunch because whether you're working in your fixed place, whether you're working at home, whether you're working overseas, it doesn't make a difference. You have to eat lunch anyway. You know, your working patterns, unless you have like a really, you wouldn't probably wouldn't be one of our clients, but if you had a really, uh, you know, irregular job, then you may be able to claim it. But usually our clients, they can't claim it. You know, they might, you know, they often say, oh, but so and so said you can claim £10 for lunch. Well, there's like a very specific set of circumstances. It's a very grey area. So we normally just say, look, forget lunch. Okay, so that was travelling. So a fixed place of business, you know, commuting, you can't claim travel, you can't claim food unless you're working early or late. If you're working in another town, another country, away from home, then you can claim for hotels and flights. If you're working from home, you know, we say, look, it's probably not worth travelling, you know, in the same hometown. Or actually, you can claim for like coffees, that kind of thing. If you're having to meet a client in a coffee room, coffee shop, that would normally be fine. So that's travel. If we look at entertaining now, so if we look at staff entertainment, you know, just to sort of reward staff or like team building, you go for lunch, you go for dinner. It's like usually you can't claim for entertainment, but if you have like an annual event and everyone's invited, then you can claim like up to 150 per head. So actually you could have like two events: a summer party, a Christmas party, and you know, if it's £75 a head both times, then it would be sort of tax deductible. And also for staff entertainment, you can always claim the VAT on it. So even if like you know you go above the 150 head limit, or you know only a few staff have been invited, not everyone, you can always claim the VAT. If we look at client entertainment, you know, so you're taking a client out for lunch, you're taking them to the theatre, you're taking them to a football match, or, I don't know, playing golf, and you might be talking about business, you might be doing a deal, you might just be building relationships with them, but unfortunately you can't claim the cost for sort of your corporation tax, because the main thing again is the duality of purpose. The only thing is for VAT purposes, you can actually claim the cost of your meal, you know, as a director or or if your staff go. So if like you know there's two of you, you know, the director and the client, you could claim for half the meal for VAT, but for tax you can't claim the cost of the meal. I mean, some of our clients are like, well, they have to go to a restaurant, you know, they could have booked some, you know, they had to meet somewhere, you know, they can't just like stand in the street and talk. Well, in that case, HMRC would say, well, you could have booked a meeting room in a, you know, there's plenty of meeting rooms available, £10-20 an hour. You could have gone to a coffee shop. You know, you didn't have to spend like £30, £100, £500. You know, some of our clients spend £1,000 on lunch. You know, you don't have to do that for business. You know, it's just kind of it's extra, it's on top. So yeah, so I think that is everything. Oh, one more thing on the travel costs. There's something called the 2-year rule. So if you're a contractor and you know you're doing your first contract, you can claim the cost of traveling, like you know your train tickets, even if it's in your hometown, for up to 2 years. After that 2 years, if you move to a different location, then you can claim again for another 2 years. But if you're moving in central London, you know, within Zone 1, I don't know, or maybe Canary Wharf, that wouldn't be different enough. Like if you're moving from central London to North London, then it would reset the 2-year clock. But otherwise, you know, if you're working in central London as a contractor, then claim travel for the first 2 years, but not after that. So I think that's kind of everything. So traveling for business, you know, outside of home, you can claim. Traveling to fixed place of work, you can't claim unless it's very irregular. Entertaining staff, you can claim, you know, up to £150 a head a year if everyone's invited, and clients you can't claim. So yeah, that's it. Let us know if you have any queries. Thanks.